Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this nice, beautiful, I think they said it was 62 degrees today. It's looking great. We're going to take you through some time-saving tips and techniques in searching in Paragon. We're going to talk about the information you really need to know. Got a few more people logging in, so we'll give them just a minute. Brian, how's the weather where you are?
It's nice. It's in the 60s now. It's just a little windy, but I'm looking forward to running in this.
I bet. I'll tell you, it's amazing. A week ago, here we are at what, 17 degrees, and now
Yeah.
only
And then
in
wait,
Michigan.
what do we say in the state of Michigan? Wait 15 minutes and then.
Exactly. So, well, just a quick couple housekeeping tips. On the right side of your screen is your go-to webinar panel, and you'll probably see it's probably minimized at this point. It's got a red arrow. If you open up that go-to webinar panel, what you will see is a way that you can ask questions. So as we go through the demonstration today, if you have questions, if you need to see anything again, please feel free to jump in. If you ask your question, we can address it to the group, because probably someone else may have the same question. And Brian behind the scenes and I behind the scenes will be answering those questions periodically going forward. So don't hold all your questions to the end. It's much easier if we're on that screen. Ask your question then, and we can go ahead and handle any problems or anything that you're working on then. Brian's going to give you really all the great information you need to know about conversion. And of course, we know conversion is never easy. I say this as an agent of 22 years myself. Change is always hard, but I think when you see some of the great new benefits that you're going to get in Paragon and some of the new programs that you're going to be introduced to today, I think you'll see that it's definitely going to give you a lot more functionality. You're going to see more listings, have more inventory that you can sell. So with that, I want to introduce Brian Alford. I have to tell you, he's probably one of the smartest people I know. He is our Chief Information Officer. He's the one who's been working tirelessly behind the scenes, making sure this conversion goes well and smooth. He's going to basically give you all the things you need to take a look at, all the things that you need to know in this conversion process. So I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Colleen. Okay, it looks like you see the date I got in here, and I'm still going to do the welcome screen for those of you that haven't seen it, just kind of give you an update of where we were, where we are right now. So let's get to it. One of the things that I'd like to do is remind everybody, why we went through this headache. Why did we go through all of these changes to get onto this platform? And one thing I want to reassure everyone is that, we have a lot of experience doing this, but it's never perfect. Conversions are just that. They're disruptive. So I would hope that everyone, has the patience and kind of does what we asked of them. They, just feedback, and I'll get to that shortly. But one of the major reasons that your leadership came on board with this is the board level of autonomy. And you're able to get all of the things that a large MLS can get because of our numbers, but you also get the advantages of autonomy. And what that means is that you still have your own branding. You log in, you have pretty much the same messaging system that you had in your previous MLS system. You'll have some of those fields. Some of those fields are coming. So I would just bear in mind that we will be introducing new fields in the coming release with our new data sheets. So be patient with that. Communication is still there between your board and your members, as well as the rules. So you retain all of this stuff. You still are an MLS. Plus, it's all supported by my RealTors. So we take care of everything. It's just a single phone number for all the products that we provide, which is Paragon, Filling Time, Right out of the box, you guys were introduced to Paragon, Showing Time, and Realist. Realist is for the tax and assessor's records for all counties in the state of Michigan. So we just had a class on that yesterday, and it was really well attended. I think we were at 30, 40 attendees. So you guys were really, had a lot of great questions. And again, just to remind you, over to the right, just those questions are going to be there. That box is there, so at any point, just throw your questions in the on your right side. Okay, and we will be introducing HomeSnap, which is the mobile app, later on this month. We don't provide zip form, but we do provide the MLS connector, the MLS update, and our data sheets are in there as well. And this allows you to do the auto populate. Now, we were having some problems with that, and we are reaching out to or in contact with Lone Wolf, which is now the parent program or the parent company for a zip form. So they're working on fixing that if they haven't fixed it already, to pull data from your current MLS system, which is Paragon. We do have deep linking with RPR, so that is, as a Realtor member, you are entitled to an RPR account. Plus, we have tax autofill. This allows you to start a listing with the tax or assessor's records within Paragon. So when you start a listing, you can go in, you'll see tax autofill. You select the county, you look up the property, and then you can start from there, and it will auto-populate information like the property ID, legal description, lot dimensions, plus a number of other things, location, city, area, postal city, and so on. Okay, just to remind everybody, another big point of coming onto this platform was data sharing. You know, previously all you had was Clare Gladwin within your MLS system. You have password exchanges, and those are still out there. But what you currently have today are actually, let's go into all of it at this point, is in addition to your own data, which is Clare Gladwin, you have Bay County Realtor Association, East Central, which is Flint, Greater Shiawassee, Lenawee County, My Real Source, Saginaw Border Realtors, Southeastern Border, which was formerly Monroe and Downriver. And you see those in the blue dots. And then in the green dots, that's the Northern Great Lakes Realtors, which is made up of 3 associations up here, which is Traverse Area Association, Central Michigan Association, and Northeastern Michigan Association over to the east. Those are available through another, an outside system, but it doesn't require a separate login and password. It's not a shared account. It allows you your own account into the Northern Great Lakes Realtors. So under resources, you'll see Northern Great Lakes Data Share. Just click on that and it goes into their version of Paragon. You could set up your saved searches, your clients. It's your account with Northern Great Lakes. And just to remind you, what you've been through is on starting February, you were in parallel. You still did things in your old MLS system. Beginning February 26th, everything went read-only, and then March 1st, everything was in your new home, your new MLS system. So all maintenance and Paragon, Realty Server was no longer available. Showing Time is available in here. So that's where we're at today. However, as you edit listings, if you haven't come across this yet, you will get hit with a number of these fields that will be required. Most of these fields are under what NAR has under their guidelines of data standards. So what we're asking you to do is simply what NAR is asking you to do, is to fill in this information. So if at any point you have any questions on this, just please reach out to support. And this is the harsh reality of what you see about these listings that were entered in the previous system. They come over and you start to edit that listing, you get hit with this. Now, this definitely looks daunting. However, it's not as bad as it looks. There's a lot of fields that are in here twice. This is just compensation here. You can see compensations down here again. And as you enter in the compensation values, that will clear out all of these, or most of these, and these at the top. You'll see that bathroom and bedroom levels and dimensions are all required. You fill those in. Really what you'll be left with are just things like association fee, association site condo, cross streets, ownership if that wasn't entered in there, structure style, 1.5 story, 2 story, and the size of the garage. That's pretty much it. Now down here, there's broker services. If you're a full listing broker, in other words, full service, you provide all the traditional things that a broker or agent provides. You simply set yes. However, if you're a discount broker or something like that, then there's a whole sort of additional questions that are required. So it's really upon you to select. If you're a traditional brokerage, just put in yes and you're fine. You just answer these questions and you're on your way. Okay, notable points of difference. Areas. Our areas are actually based on federal standards of federal identifiers. They're a fully governed entity. They collect taxes. They're typically the physical location of the property. So that's what our areas are based on. Yours actually had a mix of that and the and POAs. Well, POAs are supposed to go under associations. So association name. So under there, you'll see Sugar Springs, White Birch Estates, and so on. Those POAs or HOAs are put in there. Now that field is free form. In other words, you're going to have to actually type in the name, but you'll find that you'll bring up all of the Sugar Springs locations that are listed should be in there, as well as any of the other POAs. Body of water was previously called waterfront name. Same thing, just put in the lake name. It's free form. There isn't a set of lookups. Just put in the lake name. If it's Lake Javelin, literally you could just put in Javelin. You could find that. Statuses, there is some differences, but just simply based on name. On hold is equivalent to conditionally withdrawn. There's still a listing agreement on the for the listing. Withdrawn, that is a full cancellation, which is equivalent to unconditionally withdrawn. It's a voided listing agreement. New statuses that you'll see coming soon. Your leadership has elected to not go with the coming soon. That means that is essentially an active no-show. There's no showings on coming soons. However, you can schedule showings after the activation date. Now, what I mean by that is when a coming soon is entered, they have to disclose the date that it's going to be active. You could go into showing time today and schedule showings on coming soons that are after that activation date. It's blacked out prior to that, so no one can schedule showings on it, but you could schedule showings after that activation date or that disclosed activation date within showing time. Accepting backup offers. Your leadership has decided to go forward with that. Just bear in mind what that means is that is essentially an active pending. Now, there's an accepted offer, and what they're doing is marketing the fact that they will accept backup offers. Please bear in mind that the property is still accruing days on market. So for instance, if you do use this and an offer on your property falls through, let's say 30 days into the accepted offer, you've accrued 30 days on that property. So now it is 30 days plus what it was before that, and you're putting it technically back on the market or active. So you have a number of days there. So bear that in mind if that status is used. I would always tell everyone to consult their broker before you use a status that you're not sure about, or call support, we can explain. But accepting backup offers, just bear that in mind. It is an active pending. It continues to accrue days on market. So just understand that. One of the big things that I really pushed prior to the cutover of March 1st was validating the accuracy of your listings, or listings for that matter. And we did create a report for you. We call it the Clare Gladwin report, and you'll find that under available reports on the right. Excuse me. And on the right, you'll see that. And what we did is we recreated your full detailed display, which was in your previous MLS system. The idea was, and I've done several of these conversions, it's a lot easier for me to get feedback from you when you know where the fields are. So check that out. And really the whole point here is that you hit this corrections button if anything is an error. Now, what I tell everyone to focus on is those location identifiers: the area, municipality, mail city, school district, and the geolocation or the map location. If any of those are in error, hit corrections. But if anything else is in error, hit corrections. It's not too late to continue to report these anything erroneous in the system. It's our objective to continue to improve the accuracy of the data, and that's done with the help of you reporting the any errors within the system. So please be vocal. We get everything we need to know. It goes to your board staff as well as me for a period of time so that I could see and verify whether this is a system-related issue or something I need to correct. So be vigilant, look, report. It improves your system. And for those that haven't logged in, just a reminder, your login is all capitals. It's preceded by a CGB. We just took your old login, put a CGB in front of it, all capitals, no spaces. If it's your first time logging in, the password is 1111. If not, if you have any problems, please call support. They can help you get logged in. And just to remind you that our classes don't stop at just Paragon or Realist for that matter. We offer a whole assortment of classes that will be coming as we introduce new products, as you get more comfortable with Paragon. We have more advanced Paragon classes, as well as in addition to the Realist class, we have a deeper dive into showing time. I mentioned HomeSnap. That's the mobile app. We will be doing classes on that when you go live at the end of the month. Make sure everybody is able to log in and able to use HomeSnap to its fullest potential. These classes are very helpful. They're very popular. So I would encourage everyone to register for those as we promote them. We also have specialized classes that go into how to take all of these tools and how to really make money with that. And that means how do I capture new leads? How do I do that in social media? So these classes, again, are very popular. I would encourage everyone to register for these as they come out. We'll have them for your area, but if there's any questions, I'm not sure if I see the questions or not, because it looks pretty blank to me.
Let's see. Actually, there were a couple little questions, but I think I answered them, but I'll ask them for the group just in case you were wondering. Is this a live class or is it just recorded? And the answer is it is live. We are recording it though. If you go to our YouTube channel, which is My Real Source Media, you can actually, if you hit the subscribe button, it'll tell you when this class is uploaded. So my plan is to upload this class tomorrow. But speaking of classes, that's also where you can find yesterday's Realist class. We had a fantastic, as Brian mentioned, I think we had 40 people on the Realist class yesterday. They had really great questions, and Lisa Harris did a fantastic job. That class is being uploaded today. So if you go to, and I'll put the link in the chat in just a few moments, if you go to our YouTube channel and you hit the subscribe button, it'll let you know when these videos are available so that you can watch them. What I would recommend is you also click the save button when you're in there, and that way 3 months from now when you're like, how did that lady do that again, you can actually go right back to your saved videos and you can see it. Also, there was another good question. When you get the errors at the top, if you forgot to fill something out, the question was, why does it say bypass or accept? And Brian has a little bit higher security level, so he has a few more options. He can actually override if there is an error, but it will take you to that. You can click on the error and it will take you right to that specific field that it's referring to in case you missed something.
Makes it really easy.
Yeah, it really does. And it makes
it
almost
cool. Also, I have a bypass because if I don't know the answer and I'm fixing your listing, I'm not going to make up a property attribute. So.
And Brian, we appreciate that. Thank you. So thank you so much for your questions. Again, as we're going forward, just type them right in the questions box. And I get the fun part now, though. Brian gave you all and I have to tell you, if you only knew how hard Brian's been working behind the scenes day and night to make sure all this data is flowing properly. He brought over your history, your contacts, a lot of stuff that has made it much easier as you go through a transition. Again, as an agent, I know we all hate transition, but Brian, thank you for making this so smooth and making it so easy so that everything's there for you. But I'm going to take you on a tour now of some tips and tricks that make it much easier when you're trying to search. And by the way, I'm going to show you where some helpful handouts are. So as you go back a few months from now and you just want a cheat sheet, I'm going to give you cheat sheets. Again, we're recording this class, so don't worry. If you miss something, you can always rewatch it. But I'm going to turn my fuzzy hair off because it's not about me, it's about Paragon. So I am going to take you into Paragon. And I'm going to just show my screen in 2 seconds here. All right, I'm going to kick Brian off as presenter and show my screen. Okay, so what you should be seeing at this point is you should be seeing the Paragon screen in front of you. Now, I want to start off by just letting you know that my screen is going to look just slightly different than yours because where I am, I belong to I'm not part of your board, so obviously I don't see your board in the middle. When you log in, this middle section where you see my mouse right now, this is actually controlled by your board. So if there's an upcoming golf outing, or if there's more classes that are going to be scheduled, you'll see that right in the middle section here. Brian went ahead and put a link directly to your website and some great information. But tomorrow we do have a listing input class. So if you were to click on that section right within Paragon, it would give you all the details for the listing input class that we're doing for you guys tomorrow. Also, I wanted to mention on Tuesday the 23rd, we will be hosting HomeSnap. Will be turned on. HomeSnap is your mobile MLS platform. It's where you can edit your listings right from the palm of your hand. It's where you can see things like your seller's disclosure on your phone while you're out showing properties. It's where you can walk the property lines in real time. It does a whole bunch of cool stuff. And that class, again, will be scheduled for the 23rd, which is a Tuesday. So right now, when you're looking at this screen, you're probably thinking, well, wait a minute, I don't have that little summary summery top piece there either. Well, there's dozens of different themes that you can choose from. I am very, very ready for summer, so I've changed mine to the summer theme. But there's all different company colors. There's all different themes. There's some funny ones. There's a really cool 80s one that ET kind of flies out over your screen. So it does a lot of cool stuff. But since I look at it every single day, I like to change it up every once in a while. But basically, the program itself is exactly the same. The middle section, again, is controlled by your board. You can change the themes, but the side panels and the rest of the program are exactly as you have. Now, I'm going to be honest, I have a little bit of OCD, and I also am right-handed, so I prefer to have my quick search on the right side. So you can completely customize where you want these boxes to lie. So if you don't use a particular box, let's say that there's something you don't use quite often, you can move it around, you can change the position of it. I personally, because I'm right-handed and I try to be as efficient as I can these days, I like my quick search to be located right over here on the right, but you can move these panels by simply dragging and dropping them into the place. Just grab them at the top and move them into the order you want. Now, I think the nice thing about Paragon is it is completely customizable, but what tends to confuse people is the different ways of searching. So that's where we're going to start today. I am a big fan of Google. I want to be able to find things very, very quickly. I like those Google searches that we all do that makes it so much easier to find something quick. And that's really where we're going to start. We're going to go up to the power search here at the top. If I am looking for one specific property, so let's say I am looking for a property on 123 Cherry Street. Well, I don't want to have to put a bunch of information in, right? I want it to work like Google. I want to type in 123 Cherry Street here, and I want to find 123 Cherry Street. Now, as you can see, 123 Cherry Street is closed a few times. So if I have an active listing at 123 Cherry Street, that will always be up at the top. So if I type in 123 Cherry Street, it's an active listing, bam, it's going to be right up at the top for me to search very quickly. However, if I'm looking for maybe a comp that I know closed on 123 Cherry Street, well, in this case, I'm not sure which of these closed records I really want, right? So the easy thing to do is just go to where it says listing 7, right here where you see my mouse. Click on that and it's going to show me all of those property records. If I want to sort them by date, by close date, I could go ahead and simply click on that column heading. It's going to sort them for me. It's kind of like an Excel spreadsheet, if you will. You can also move these columns around, so you can actually change how you want it displayed. When I'm ready to check out 123 Cherry Street, I'm simply going to click on the MLS number and bam, now I have a great listing ticket in front of me. I'm old, I've been doing this 22 years. We used to call them listing tickets. I guess MLS listing would be more appropriate. As I scroll down, I can see all the information for that particular property. Now, one of the things that Brian did for you guys, which I love, is we know change is hard. So what he wanted to do is kind of mimic the same report that you had in Realty Server in Paragon. So it's not like you have to figure out, okay, now where was this on that listing and where do I find what the compensation is and where do I find the room dimensions. So Brian went in and I'm just going to click on the reports button. By the way, if you can't see my mouse, it may be because your GoToWebinar box is covering it. That's okay. There's a little green button over on the right hand side where you see my mouse leading up to here, and that says reports. If you click into your reports, you will notice under the details that there is Clare Gladwin. I suggest that you favorite it by simply clicking on the star. You can favorite. And what you'll notice is it's actually going to open up that similar looking report to what you had in Realty Server. Now, it's not exact, but it's as close as we could get so that you don't have to hunt for information when you're in a hurry and you're going through this transition. There are lots of different reports to choose from, though. All of our client-facing reports, so anything I would be happy as an agent sending my client, actually has client right in the title. I'm kind of a big fan of the MLS Client View report, and the reason is at the bottom, they're only seeing my information, my company, and information about me. But you can see the room sizes, virtual tours, photos, all of that is included right here for them to see. A map of where the property is. So anything, again, with the name client in it, that's a great one to send your client, like client full package. My best friend is also an agent, and this is her favorite. So if I scroll through, again, it's got her, or in this case, my information at the bottom. It's got interior photos. If the agent has added any, it will have room sizes. It'll have a map. So it's just a little bit easier for them to use. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit my back button here. The second thing that this power search does, I'm just going to close this for a moment. The second thing that this power search does is it allows you to not only find one address, but maybe you have an MLS number you're trying to find. You could type that in your power search. But I am going to, let's pretend for a moment I'm having dinner at a restaurant, and who am I going to use on our call today? And I run into Gail. Gail, who's on our call today, she's having dinner there, and I start talking about this great new listing that I'm going to be listing, and she says, oh, I have the perfect buyer. Gail gets up this morning and she says, oh, what was that address? I can't remember. She can actually go to that power search and she can even type in my name. It will show my listing inventory. It'll also show my record at the bottom in case she wants to get my cell phone number, in case she wants to find out what company I work at. Maybe she's writing an offer. Maybe she wants to email it to me. So not only can you find one property quickly, you can find an agent quickly. You can also find an MLS number quickly. So it's set up to be more of like a Google-esque search. So I'm looking for one thing. I want to find it fast. That's really where this power search is really helpful. But now let's switch gears. Let's say that you're at the office and somebody calls and they said, you know what? I am looking for a 3-bedroom home. I am looking, it has to be on a basement. I'm looking in Sterling Heights, or you could say Gladwin, wherever they happen to be looking. I'm looking for 3 bedrooms. By the way, here's my price range. This is where I can put just some minimal information in and I can get some search results. So it's kind of a fast way. So maybe they're looking between 100 and 200,000. It's kind of a fast way to find a few results. I can hit my count. We're only looking for actives, which probably won't be a whole lot. Right now, it seems like we have such a shortage in our market. Wow, that's very sad. Only 2 listings. So the idea is this is where I can go ahead and I can create a very fast search with just some minimal information. However, for a long time, I think almost 3 years, I begged Brian for a really cool field that we didn't have. And what I mean by that is I told Brian, I said, you know what? The average agent today is working with these buyers, and unfortunately, they think these syndication sites are, you know, just the berries, and they're calling us, and they've got 9 addresses, right? And they're like, I'm looking for information on this address, and this address, and this address. Well, I wanted to be able to not have to find each individual address, right? They found it, let's say, on Zillow, or they found it on Redfin, or they found it on Realtor.com, wherever they found it. A lot of times those properties have actually closed 4 months ago. It's not very accurate because they're not using the live MLS database, right? They're getting all this through different feeds at different times and becomes kind of a nightmare. So the idea here is I want to be able to take those 5 or 6 addresses that they gave me, or maybe they emailed them to me, and I want to be able to type them into one field, and I want to be able to pull up all the results and let's say text them to my client, or let's say email them to my client. So the idea is if you use this full addresses field that you see right here, it'll allow you to do up to 30 properties at one time and then send them out to your client. So let me give you an example. So I've got a listing right now at 8515 Helen. But maybe I'm also looking for some information on 123 Cherry Street. Now, the cool thing here is I can just keep hitting enter and type in as many as I want. Maybe I'm looking for 7045 Nature's Way. And I would just probably put in Nature's, a little easier. And I can just keep hitting enter, and I'm pulling up more and more search results. Now, if I'm just looking for active and pending, I can go ahead and filter that down to active and pending in my status. But the idea is I can even copy and paste up to 30 different addresses into one field, pull them all open, and now send them directly to my clients. The cool thing here is even if you don't know the full proper address, like let's say this happens to be Helen Street, this is Cherry Boulevard, this may be Nature's Way, all you have to do is put in the root street name. It has a built-in wildcard or built-in behind the scenes kind of like an asterisk afterward. So it will always pull up the streets, the ways, the boulevards, the courts, anything like that. It will still find those for you. So this full addresses field has gotten to be one of my absolute favorites. The reason is I can actually take those 10 addresses, put them in one field. I can now hit search and I can pull all of those results up. It makes it so much easier now to talk about these on the phone with someone, and then after our conversation, I can quickly email them directly over to that person. So in this case, let's say we're going to pretend that these are active for a moment. I can go ahead and simply select those 4. Now, one thing when I was looking through Realty Server, and correct me if I'm wrong, if it was there and I missed it, I apologize. I could not figure out in Realty Server how to actually text the listings. So in Paragon, it's very simple. You're just going to check the ones you want. You're going to, probably wouldn't do an expired. Maybe I'll just go ahead and do these. I'm going to go over and I'm going to hit the share button, and it's going to be share via text. All I have to do is click that button. I can actually pull up a contact record, or I can add a brand new contact in. And obviously, I'm going to text it right to their cell phone number. And now those results are going to show up right to them. So really easy. Again, if you wanted to email them, not text them, you could go ahead and email them. I like the MLS client view, so I made that my default. So anytime I'm going to send something out, I send it out via the MLS client view. Now they've got my branding, but there's different ways you can send them out. You can send them out through the Collab Center. I'm going to give you a quick look at Collab Center today. There is a Collab Center class coming up next week. The Collab Center is much like, and I think it was called Client Services or Client Concierge or something like that in Realty Server. It's a way that you can set up a profile or basically your criteria for a buyer. You can actually save the buyer's contact information, and it will email the buyer the minute any new listing with his criteria hits the market. Now, the cool thing about this versus if they're trying to use Redfin or Realtor.com or Zillow or anything like that is that it uses the live MLS database. And what that means is your clients aren't going to be calling you saying, hey, why didn't you send me this address? And you find out it's closed 3 months ago. I tell my clients, use this. It's the tool I use to search as an agent. It's the actual back end of the MLS. That way, when they're looking at properties, if it says active, you can rest assured they actually are, at least for the moment in this hot market. So when you're getting calls about properties they found on Zillow and Realtor.com and some of the other, it's again done via feed, and a lot of times that information is outdated or may have already closed. The nice thing about giving them this tool is when they're using this tool, it's the live MLS database. So if somebody marks something pending, within 30 seconds, it shows pending in their system as well. All right, so different ways you can send things out, but we're going to talk a little bit about the Collab Center today too. So just kind of a quick recap, right up here at the top, you've got your power search, kind of like a quick Google search. Right over here on my right, on your left, when you're logging in, you'll have your quick search, and that will allow you to find a couple properties fast. There's one other thing I want to point out though. In your quick search, I would recommend that you add a couple of things. One of the things I would recommend that you add is a way that you can still find properties by the Realty Server number, the MLS number you had in Realty Server. So as Brian mentioned, you're going through all of this transition for a reason. Before, you could only see the information for Clare Gladwin, right? Which was great, it was helpful, but now we need to be able to compete and see listings across the state. And I'm happy to say we actually have 94% of the state now in our data share, which is very cool. So when they call you on a property north of you or south of you or east of you, you can see that information in your home MLS. One of the things though is because you're going into Paragon and you're looking at it in a larger scale, usually those MLS numbers will be a couple digits longer. So if you still want to search by the Realty Server MLS number, you can still do that. Brian loaded all of those for you. So you have to do that by adding a specific field. Now let me show you what I mean. There is a specific field called Alt MLS number, which will be your old Realty Server number. So if you still want to be able to look up things by the Realty Server MLS number, you can do that, but you do have to add it in. It's not here out of the box. So what I mean is, if you wanted to add that to your quick search, if you go right up here to the top where you see this little gear, if you click on that gear, you can actually decide what you want to be part of your quick search. So maybe there's something that you don't ever search for. So I'm going to say maybe I don't want in my quick search, maybe I don't want these two fields. I can remove them, but I can also add fields. So maybe again, I'm looking for that alternate MLS number. So I'm going to go ahead and check that off. I'm going to hit add. And basically what it just did is it dropped it at the bottom of my fields. But maybe for a while, until you're a little more comfortable with Paragon, maybe you want to have that at the top of your list of fields. Or maybe that full addresses, maybe you want to move that down in your list of fields. Just simply drag and drop them into the location you want, and then go hit and apply and save. Now I'm actually just going to apply it and kind of show you how that works. Now that alternate MLS number is right here in my quick search. You saw that it wasn't there previously, so that I can still put in those Realty Server numbers. The idea here is it just makes it a little bit easier. And what I did this morning is I went into Realty Server and I got one of the numbers to use. So if I'm trying to find a number that was used in Realty Server, an MLS number, I can go ahead and simply type it in. It's going to show me, yep, found that. There it is. I'm going to hit search. So I can still find it. If somebody calls me and says, I have this MLS number, and you know it's that Realty Server MLS number, you can go ahead and still use that and pull up that property. All right, so hopefully that made a little bit more sense. So again, the quick search is if you want to find a couple properties fast, you can move those fields around, put them in the order that works best for you. If there's something in your quick search you've never used, pull it out, replace it with something that you would find helpful. So that quick search allows you to not only, it allows you to save them. Let's say that you start doing a quick search, somebody comes into the lobby and you come back and you're like, oh man, I don't want to have to re-enter all that stuff. Well, don't worry. It actually saves your last 15 quick searches. So you can actually go back and find something that you may have typed in previously. Just click on it and there was our property addresses. So really easy to find things in the quick search. It's just designed to give you a couple properties fast. But let's talk about what we really use the most, and that's really a detailed search. That's when you have that buyer who says, you know what, I need a 3-car garage, I need a finished basement, I'm looking in this price range, and oh, I want to live in, it could be this city, could be that city. That's really where we want to go into a little bit more detail. So that's where we're going to find our detailed search. In order to do that, and I'm going to say I'm going to use Gail again. So Gail's got this buyer. He's got a lot of haves and wants. I want to go up to my search icon at the top here. Now there's all different things that you can search for, by the way. You can open up your saved searches. So I could go to saved search. I could go to see how much inventory that I've sold. I can do my let's see, I could actually find open houses from here, hot sheets from here. So there's so much that you can actually do. You can also do that detailed search by class. So maybe you're looking for vacant land. Maybe you're looking for residential. Maybe you have a client, he's not sure if he wants to build or if he wants to buy something existing. So you can actually search over the class lines. Okay, so you're not really stuck. You can go ahead and search over the different class lines and do one search for your client. But today we're going to kind of keep this pretty run-of-the-mill. We're going to do just a residential search. We're going to say we've got that buyer. He's got a few haves and wants. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a residential search. Okay. If you don't know what goes into a particular field, remember you can go right over here to the right and simply click on the magnifying glass, and it's going to tell you what that field is asking for. So it wants to know, is your buyer looking for a condo? Is he looking for a farm? Or is he looking for a single family home? I'm going to say he's looking for a single family residential home. Statuses. So again, Brian mentioned that there's going to be a few more statuses because remember, you're data sharing with more people now. So maybe you're just looking for something that's active. If you don't know the statuses, if you click on that magnifying glass, you'll see back on market. You'll see keep showing contingent, or you could just do all actives. Now, I think I heard Brian say that your board is not doing coming soons just yet, but don't be surprised if you see a coming soon that's coming through the data share. So you can elect to deselect one if you don't want to see that. Accepting backup offers means, this is a status I have to tell you sometimes I have a little qualms with because really it has an offer on it. So it's really kind of pending, but they're still looking at offers, meaning you can still submit an offer, but there really is a pending offer already on the property. So it's your choice. If you don't want to see ABOs, you can deselect those as well. All right. If you're looking for comps, I could say I want to see comps, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. I personally don't care for the, if I'm looking for comps, I don't like the calendars as much. I like to use these easy drop downs. So if I'm looking for comps, I probably really only want to go 6 months back. I'm not looking for rentals. I'm just looking for properties that are for sale for my comps. So you can do that as well. If you start typing in an area or municipality, you just start typing the city name, it'll pop right up for you. So you don't have to know a bunch of codes or, select from a big long list. You can actually just start typing the city name and it will quick fill. Structure style. If I'm looking for comps, maybe I only want to see comps for a 1-story if I'm listing a ranch. But again, if you have any questions about what goes in a field, just go right over here to the right and click on your structure style. All right, so here's some important things. Here's a couple tips that you're probably going to want to remember. And by the way, in your GoToWebinar panel, Brian did a great job. He actually put a handout there for you so that it's got some of the important information that you may need to know. And so in your handouts section, if you click on it, you can download it, you can print it. That may be something you want to download for future reference too. All right, so in the bedrooms area, if my client is looking for at least 3 bedrooms, well, as long as I put 3 here, if I don't put anything in max, that's fine. It's going to give me 3 and above. This is the one I kind of want to call your attention to, though, this bathrooms total. Bathrooms total, and I apologize, there's really no nicer way to say this, but it's literally counting the number of toilets in the entire home. Yes, that's what I said, the number of toilets, meaning could be in the basement. I am actually embarrassed to tell you that I recently showed a bungalow home over by me that actually was unfinished in the attic, literally had a toilet in the attic, and the agent had the nerve to count it. I was a little kind of appalled, but anyway, it counts the number of toilets in the whole home. Now, if I'm going to use Gail again, so we have Gail on the call today, and Gail says, she's working with her buyer, they're talking things over, and Gail says, hey, what do you need? He says, well, Gail, I have 5 daughters. I have not had a hot shower in like 3 years. Gail, I need 2 full bathrooms. Now, if Gail puts 2 in this bathrooms total, well, Gail could technically be running this person around and showing him a bunch of bath and a halves, right? Because that means 2 toilets. but that's not what he wants. He wants 2 full baths. So what I would suggest is Gail's going to scroll down to this secondary criteria. Just going to click on that little drop down here. Now, by the way, little tip, as an agent in my real searches, I have moved these to the top because I use these a lot more. What I mean is bathrooms full and bathrooms have are right here. Now, what's the advantage of these? These are above grade square, it's above grade square feet. So that means it's going to be above the ground, and it's going to be on the livable levels of the home. So it's the above grade square footage is where these are going to be located. So if Gail says, okay, you got to have 2 full baths, no problem. She's going to put bathrooms full 2. That means 2 and above on the above grade square footage of the home. That's what I'm looking for. Now, if she just puts 2 in here, of course she'll get 2.5. She'll get 3, but the idea is that I needed at least 2 full baths on the livable levels of the home. Don't be afraid to go up to customize here though and move these fields up. Now for you guys, now I don't do a lot of vacant land, I don't do a lot of acreage, but maybe acreage is important to you. Don't be afraid to go to customize and move acreage into this top box. Maybe your built is something you search on a lot. So you can move these around in whatever order is best for you. You go to customize, just like I showed you in the quick search, same concept. Don't be afraid to drag and drop something that's important to you into the right location. If it's in the secondary box, take it out of the secondary and put it in your primary. And that's totally okay. So make this customized to you. And that's kind of one of the benefits of Paragon is you can have it the way you want it to be. I don't want to have to, in my real searching as an agent, I don't want to have to scroll down to the bottom all the time. That's a waste of time. I want to have those important fields right up at the top. All right, so let's talk about some other things. Basement, yes, no, that's great. But what if your client says, I only want to see something with a finished basement? Well, that's a little different, right? Because could be a Michigan basement, might not be finished. So how do you start adding in more haves and wants? One of the ways to do that is under features. So let's say that a couple things. Maybe he only wants to see homes with a finished basement. I can start typing the word in. That means it must have a finished basement. So if I set him up on that collab center where he gets the automated emails of new listings, I could say I only want him to get stuff with a finished basement. I have a client right now, really, really nice lady. And in Macomb County, where I am, in order to close on a sale, you have to have, if it's on a well or septic, you have to have that actually tested in order to be conveyed in the sale. So she unfortunately just found out that she has to put in a brand new engineered raised bed septic field because hers is leaking a lot. And so she called me and she said, I want you to find me my new house. But here's the thing, I don't ever want to have to look at another septic, a home on a septic field at all. So that would be a must not have. So there's 3 features when you're talking about features: must have, must not have, and must have at least one of these. So in her case, she said, don't even show me something on a septic field, just do not even send it to my email. So here's where I would exclude that. So it must not have a septic field in order to go to my client. Now, I think it's the crazy hair that I have, but I seem to attract rather crazy buyers. So sometimes they need special help. So if you are setting your client up in the collab center, and I'm going to give you an example of one that I recently had. I had a very nice lady, but she called me and she said, Colleen, if you send me one more yellow-sided house, I'm thinking about maybe getting another agent. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you didn't like yellow siding. She said, well, my last 3 have been yellow siding and I hate it. Well, unfortunately, there is no button in the MLS that says, please remove all yellow-sided houses, right? So in that case, you can even do an agent preview, which means it allows it to go to the agent first You get to see it, and if you like it, then you can click approve, and it now goes to your client. So there's all kind of special setups that you can do in here, so that if you have those crazy clients like I seem to attract, that you can still work with them and they can still have all of the information on that particular home, but you get the chance to approve it first. One of the other things to note is that must have one or more right here. There are, let's say you have a client who says, you know what, Colleen, I have a home business and I need to have a home that has a pole barn or maybe a workshop. So you can actually do must have at least one of these. Now, when I was doing my research to prepare for this class, I noticed that you guys have a lot of beautiful lakes where you guys are. We're close to Lake St. Clair over here, but maybe you have some unique features you're looking for. So what I would recommend is you want to go over to this magnifying glass. This breaks the features down into categories. Okay, so to use Gail again, Gail's client said they wanted a finished basement. So I could go to basement, I could go to finish and say, oh, must have a finished basement. Maybe they want a finished basement or a pole barn. Maybe he has a little workshop. He wants to be able to do it in the basement or outside at the pole barn. You could do that. However, there's a couple when it comes to lakes that I use quite often over here, and I think you probably will where you are as well. So if you go to the water features, so right now I have a client who says, I have a boat. I want to keep my boat at my house. I don't really care if it's on the canal. I don't really care. We're over by Harson's Island. So I don't care if I'm, close to Harson's Island. If I keep my boat there, that's fine. I would love to be on the lake. Lake frontage is preferred. But if I have river access so I can get to Lake St. Clair, that's okay too. If I'm just right on the river again, or if it has a steel seawall, if I'm on the waterfront, any one of those that the agent may have selected are now going to go to my client when a new listing with that criteria becomes available. So the idea is if he doesn't care whether it's lake frontage or water frontage, not all agents label those things correctly, unfortunately. So if they put that it is lake frontage and it's really river frontage, well, I want to make sure I'm getting all of those results. So I'm going to say it must have at least one of these in order to go over to my client. Another one that I commonly use, and I think you will probably too, is financial terms. Maybe you have a client who's really desperately looking for something on a land contract. Must be a land contract. Maybe they got financed only for FHA 203K. Maybe you're looking something with a rural development loan or would be able to go rural development. Maybe some clients who were looking for Section 8 homes. So all the financing terms are right here, and then you can pick whether it has to have it, must not have it, or must have at least one or more. Hopefully that makes sense. One of the other things we found that was very unique to you guys when we were doing our research was Sugar Springs and basically POAs, I believe you call them out there. We have a place for that is under the association. And, we've done a great job. Brian's done a great job, I should say, asking additional questions, like especially for me over here with condos. I have clients who have dogs and they don't want to get rid of their dogs. They just want a condo where they can have a dog. So there's actually places where the agent can input whether dogs are allowed. Is there a number limit? Is there pet restrictions? So there's a lot of information that you can search on. And of course, associations are one of them. If you are searching on an association, you can absolutely do that. So places like Sugar Springs, you will still find those under association. You can also put them in the comments. You can even search on words in the comments. So lots of different ways that you can accomplish that. Okay, let's talk about the big one though. I heard, because remember, you were only looking at the Clare Gladwin information before, I heard that you had lake name lookups. And what I mean is you could look up a lake because there weren't as many lakes because you were looking at a smaller piece of the pie, right? Now we have to remember we're making that pie much bigger. And according to the DNR, lakes that I think they had to be 10 10 miles or over, something like that. There are 17,000 lakes in Michigan, and that's good size lakes. That's not even counting for the smaller lakes. There are also multiple deer lakes. There's 8 deer lakes in Michigan, and a lot of them have different names. So here's the thing. If we couldn't give you a lookup for 17,000 lakes, because that would not be a good lookup. You'd be looking forever to find anything. So you can search on a lake name. Now, but here's the thing. Out of the box, you do have to add that in. So let me show you how to do that. If you go to Customize and you go to Fields, our lake name lookup is RESO compliant. And so it's called body of water. And basically, if you don't know what RESO is, it's the standardization of fields. NAR is trying to make fields more standardized. So they're called the same thing. So whether you're selling in Florida, Michigan, Arizona, there's a certain name for the fields you're looking for. So body of water is the lake name. So you have to add that in though. So you're gonna check off, you only have to do it one time, so don't worry. You wanna add body of water. You wanna add that to your list of fields. And then you wanna move it anywhere you want. I'm gonna move it for a little bit closer to the top here so you can find it easy. And then you wanna apply and save it. I'm just gonna apply mine just for here so we can take a look at it. So let's pretend for a moment that you are looking, you got a buyer, he's looking for a residential home, and he's looking on Wixom Lake, okay? So I can go to the body of water field, type in active, type in Wixom, and now I can see how many active homes there are on Wixom Lake, and I see there are 38. Okay, so you can search by lake name. Don't worry, you see it's pretty easy. Just simply start typing out the name. Don't have to put the lake part. Don't have to put the pond or whatever it happens to be. Just put in the actual like Wixom. It will pop right up, and now I can go in. I can view how many homes are on Wixom Lake. Just hit my search button. The other thing that you can do in here is that you can also search by map. This is also super when you're looking for comps. Actually, let me do that. Let me go to my criteria. By the way, you can keep bouncing. It's basically 3 tabs: criteria, map, and your search results. So you can kind of bounce back and forth if you forgot something. You can also multitask in Paragon. So you can have multiple tabs open at one time right across the top here. So what I want to do is I want to go into, let's say I'm looking for comps. So I'm looking for my closed properties. I want to go back 6 months. And I am going to go into my map search. So it's a search by map. One of the problems I frequently run into, especially in this hot market, is agents don't put in things all the time that would be very helpful for searching, like subdivision name, things like that. So I would recommend, of course, that you do that. But even if you were to search, I would never recommend searching by subdivision name because it's not a required field, at least for where I am. And that means agents might not have filled it out, and I might miss a house in that sub. So what I would suggest is that you use the map to search. So I'm going to say, maybe I'm looking for comps. I'm going to say I'm looking for comps for 41539 Westwell Drive in Sterling Heights. Now, obviously, you're going to do this in your area. I'm just more familiar, and I can show you some good examples right here. So we've got our subject property here, and I want to find comps within 1 mile. So I'm going to do my search radius. Okay. Basically drawing that circle for comps in 1 mile of that subject property. Okay. So now I can also, let's say you have a buyer, let's switch gears. Let's say you have a buyer who is looking north of 18, does not want to go west of Hayes Road. Maybe his mother-in-law lives over here and he's like, yeah, we don't need to be that close to mom's here. We can go ahead. I'm literally just using the drawing tools to click the exact shape I'm looking for. Okay, so you can be as specific as you want. Now, here's a couple little tips that nobody ever told me and I love, so I'm going to share them with you. If you are looking for comps in a particular area, I'm going to use this circle right here. So I heard, unfortunately, that you guys were affected by some of that Midland flooding, and that was horrible. Man, my heart went out to everybody who was affected by that. That was really awful. But let's say you wanted to know, is this going to be in one of the floodplain areas? You can actually go up to where these little stacks of paper are. These are layers. And you could say, okay, I want to see if this is going to be in a floodplain. And as you can see, I checked it off. And you notice right away it's now adding the floodplain information. Maybe you want to see the parcel lines. Maybe your client wants a little more property. I can actually zoom in, check my parcels, and I can actually see the parcel lines in that particular sub. If I really zoom in, let's say I want to see this particular parcel of land, I can actually click on it and see the home on that parcel of land, even if it's not listed. So there's a whole lot you can actually do here. All right, I'm gonna zoom back out a little bit. It's up a little bit close. All right, so the other things you can do, and no one taught me this either, is you can actually go into a shape and draw a shape on a shape. So let me kind of show you what I mean. So I'm gonna go into my criteria here for a second. And I am just going to, let's see what I got. I got Wixom area. We're going to take that out. Now we've got a few more results to look at here. Now, obviously, the more criteria you put in, the less results you're going to see, right? I was looking for closed. I didn't put any price in or anything like that. But you can now see that I'm returning some search results. If I click on the flag, well, it's going to open up that listing, and I can click on the listing ticket to see it in Paragon, so I can see all the detail. But now I'm getting my comps are starting to pop up. But let's say, and I'm going to use Gail again, Gail just listed these 4 homes. By the way, if they're clustered, it just means that they're very close together, and so that's why it's kind of clustering. If you zoom in, it will uncluster them for you. But Gail, she's been working hard. She listed these 4 houses, and we're going to pretend that they are $1 million waterfront homes. We're going to pretend that that floodplain you just saw a few moments ago, we're going to pretend that that is lakefront property. Now, that's great, and I'm all happy for Gail and everything, but I have a subject property way back here, right? It's a little brick ranch. If I pull in Gail's $1 million waterfront properties, it's going to really scrub my CMA, and it's going to not be accurate. So what I want to do is I want to go to my drawing tools again, but this time I actually want to draw a shape on the shape. So we're going to pretend this is lakefront right here. I know I'm doing a little pretending here. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm going to draw a shape on the shape, but I'm going to do one more thing. I am going to hit the edit button, and I'm going to change that from include, this little blue button here, to exclude. Now what it's going to do is it's going to pull those 4 comps right out of my comps. So I don't even have to worry about deselecting a bunch of things. I basically have drawn a shape on a shape. By the way, you can always edit your shapes. So you can click on the bar here, do an edit. I can make them larger or smaller. I can include points or remove points. So there's a whole bunch you can do in here. The idea is if I don't want to have a bunch of comps dragged into my CMA, I can go ahead and I can simply remove them by doing a shape on a shape and clicking exclude. This is really helpful. I had a listing recently that was in a subdivision, a very, very large subdivision over here called Rivergate. Half of the sub was really older homes, like 1930, 1940. The other half of the sub was homes that were all new construction. So if I did my 1 mile radius search, guess what was happening? It was making a big fat mess. I was getting a lot of comps that I really didn't want to use. So it allowed, I could have gone in and done year built and tried to filter it, but that would have been a lot more work. Instead, I just literally drew the dividing line of where the old sub started, and I excluded it from my comp. So it's a little bit easier for me, at least, to do it that way. All right. Then once I run my search, by just clicking on that tab, it's going to show me all of my search results. Obviously, I would want to put in a little bit more criteria there. Right up here, we've got our mini CMA right here at the top. By the way, again, having a little OCD, I like to see my actives with my actives, closed with my closed. Think of it kind of like an Excel spreadsheet. Just click on it. If I wanted to, I'll show you this too. If I wanted to do my CMA, let's say I went through the comps, I found a couple great comps, I'm now ready to do a mini CMA. I can also just go right to my reports. Oh, one thing before we go there. Once I check these items off, again, my OCD says this is a mess. I only want to see these 5. Show me these 5. We're going to go up to checked. Now I'm only seeing the ones I'm working with, which makes a lot more sense to me. If I go up to my reports now, there is a CMA folder. So as I scroll down here, click on my CMA folder. Maybe I just want to see the properties stacked up against one another. So I can say, okay, here's my subject property. Here is my comps that I'm choosing. You can customize what fields you want to see next to each other. But maybe you don't even want to show them that. Maybe you just want to do a quick summary of the numbers. You just want to know, what's the average square footage? What is the price per square foot sold? What is the average days on market? You can even do that. Those reports that you're looking at are located right under the CMA folder in your reports. So anytime you want to change your display or your report, just go to the report section. All right. So I showed you how to search by lake name. We talked about Sugar Springs. We talked about changing your reports, adding in fields that may be important to you. As Brian mentioned, we just finished a great Realist class yesterday. You have Realist, and Realist is basically the tax records for a particular property. Now you're going to notice, let me find one real quick here. We'll do this one. Just gonna kind of grab one real quick here. You'll notice that there are a lot of quick action links on every single listing. And one of them is a little red button. That is your Realist Report. So if I click on that little red button, it's going to open up Realist, which is a combination of tax records and MLS data. It's going to show me the tax information, what they paid, who owns the property, the legal description. It's going to show me tax assessments for the property. If I scroll down a little further, I can see characteristics. Is it built on a basement? Does it have a garage? And every once in a while, you'll actually see that the MLS information is different than the tax information. So the municipality or the where they're being taxed from says that it's a split level. This says it's a 1.5. So you can see there's a difference. It's really the same thing, but that's how, if there's any discrepancies on the property between the tax information and the MLS information, you'll see that here. It'll show you above grade square footage, below grade square footage, the year built. So a lot of the grade information comes right from here. It'll show you if the property's been listed. It'll show you who listed the property. It'll show you the sales history of the property. It'll even show you the mortgage history, which I love. If they refied, you can see it. If they took a home equity loan, you can see it. This is really helpful when you're preparing for your listing appointments. If you're about to walk in, let's say you saw they bought it 2 years ago. They had a $150,000 conventional mortgage. You saw that they also just took a home equity loan for $60,000, and you're about to tell them that home is worth $100,000. Well, I want to be ready for that, right? Because I know they're upside down. So this is kind of a great way to actually go in and see the mortgages on the property. Now, of course, you know, it can change. They could have paid things off, but it's just nice to let me know kind of when I'm walking in the door if I need to be prepared to tell them that they may be upside down in the home. All right, so pretty easy. Mapping too. There's mortgage payment calculators that are built into those quick action links. Of course, there's the showing time link so that you can schedule a showing right from your property listing. There is associated docs. Now, this is really important, and I'll tell you, it might not be really important to you today, but when you're using HomeSnap, it will be really important. Associated documents are where you can put your seller's disclosures and lead-based paint documents. You click on the add disclosures, and then when agents are getting ready to write their offers, you're able to actually go in and see those disclosures. I can go in, I can actually click on any disclosures or surveys, anything like that that are attached to the property. Now, the cool thing too is that when I am showing a house and I'm using HomeSnap, those disclosures are in the palm of my hand, right in my app. Not only can I see them, but I can share them with my buyer standing next to me. So it does a whole lot there too. Once you have a search that you've set up, so now we have a whole class on this. This is not meant to be a collab center class, so don't panic. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you. Once you have a search set up though, you can actually assign it to a contact. And so I'm going to kind of show you an example here. Under the contact section, I can see I set up my client, Eddie Resk. I can see that I put him in last June. He last went into the program on 2/24 to check out houses. He was last notified today of a new listing that went on the market. And I can see he has 5 favorites, 5 that he chose to favorite. So basically what the Collab Center is a way that you can marry your client information to a search. And then anytime a new listing comes on the market, they're going to get notified. What I love about this program is it's very easy for them to use. So when I go in, I can see he got a new notification today. Here was the home that was sent to him. If he likes it, he can favorite it. He can go in and see all the details, including virtual tours. He can walk down the street if he wants. He can see all the interior photos. He can see the room sizes. He can also request a time he wants to see it. So if he puts in a time and date, it emails me that he's available to actually check those properties out at that time. He can ask questions. Again, he can click on the street view, which again uses Google Maps, just like in Paragon, and he can walk down the street right on his computer without having to get in the car. He can see the property to the right, can see the property to the left, and he can do a 360 view. I tell my clients, please favorite anything you like, and I'll show you why. If your clients take the time to favorite their listings that they like as they're getting them, and remember, this is the live MLS database, so you're not going to see stuff that's really already closed 3 months ago. I tell my clients to favorite it, and here's why. If they favorite it, I now go under favorites. Looks like he's got 5 that he favorited. I say, okay, he really likes these. I got 2 coming soon, so I'm probably not going to be able to schedule appointments on those ones because they're not active yet. They're coming to the market. I'm going to say, okay, I've got 4 listings I want to show them. I'm going to go to the Actions button, drop them into showing time, and use the showing time carts. Once I click Add to Showing Time Cart, I want to create a new cart. Now I want to name my cart. You know, when am I going to show it and who am I going to show it to? Well, I'm going to show it today, and I'm going to show it to, let's see, who do I got here? We'll show it to Barry Buyer. It will track how many properties you've shown to Barry Buyer. It'll track, you know, your averages, how many you're showing to buyers on a whole. But here's why I like the showing time cart so much. It will tell me if a homeowner needs to be contacted, and if it needs to be confirmed, it'll say appointment required. If it's a go and show, meaning most probably it's got a lockbox and I'm going to get the lockbox as soon as I request the showing, I can see that. But here's what I really love. If I notice, now if you're looking at this map, who the heck is going to drive from one over here, over here, over here, and bounce around, right? I want to put this in a smart route. I want to make sure that it's putting me in a logical order. So I'm going 1, 2, 3. I'm not driving all over the town and then back and then over here. So it actually puts it in a smart route for you. Then all I have to do is look here. I know property 1 to property 2 is going to take me 7 minutes of drive time. It's 2.1 miles away. So when I'm scheduling my showing windows, I know exactly what I want to do. I pick my time. Oh, I want to show it today at 3:30. And my showing will be over at 4. So it allows you to pick everything and then submit everything at one time. It also allows you to add, again, I kind of get the crazy buyers. I always get my tour all set up, got my everybody ready to go, got all my confirmations, and then they call and they say, great news, Colleen, we found one more house. So the good news is you can add additional listings on the fly. You can even add other places like restaurants. If you're taking maybe a relocation buyer out, you can put restaurants addresses in here and you can arrange them on your tour. And then you can send your buyer turn-by-turn directions so they know which house you're going to first, which house you're going to second, and that way you don't have to say, okay, now we're going to. They actually can be sent turn-by-turn directions. So showing time, I'm a huge fan of the showing time carts. It's a really easy way to request everything in one quick view and then send your requests. All right, by now, your head is probably spinning and you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, this is so much. How am I going to remember all of this? Well, don't worry. Again, we are recording this class so that you can go back and you can watch it in the future. If you go to our YouTube channel, kind of show you what it looks like real quick. If you hit the subscribe button, it'll tell you when this class is uploaded. It'll also allow you to watch yesterday's class. Let me switch over here from my personal to my RealTors channel. We'll switch to my RealTors. There we go. When you go to our YouTube channel, if you hit the subscribe button, it'll tell you where when the class is updated. And so if new classes come out for you, like we're going to have a home snack class coming up, as I mentioned, on the 23rd, it'll show you when that is live. You can watch yesterday's class too. We also created a playlist for you. So just for Clare Gladwin, if you go to the Clare Gladwin playlist, you'll see it right here. It's going to have all of the classes that we've recorded so that you can watch them again. So not only this class, but Realist, the Collab class, which is coming up next week, will be here. You'll also see the Home Snap class here. So it's a nice way, if you can't attend them all live like we're doing right now, it's a great way to be able to go back and see them. You also have tech support that's available to you now, 7 days a week. From 9 in the morning till 9 at night. It's complimentary, and it's actual real life staff that are right in-house. So we not only can answer your Paragon questions, but we can answer your Realist questions. We can answer your CMA questions. We can do all of that in one call. So we're not transferring you all different places. We actually support you in-house, and we support all of the products that you get through us. There is a listing input class coming up tomorrow, as I mentioned. So we've covered searching. We've talked a lot about, different ways that you can search. We are still asking for your help right now, though. If you go to your market monitor and you click on My Info, we are asking you to take a look at your listings. So under My Info, you're going to see your listings, whether they're pending or whether they're active. Click on your listings and do us a favor in this interim, because we're just obviously making the switch into Paragon. We're asking you to go into your listings and we're asking you to review the information and make sure that it looks correct. Make sure your photos are there. Make sure the fields look correct. The information looks correct. If it does not, Brian mentioned there's a corrections button right at the top. All you have to put in is what's missing. It already knows the address, it knows the listing number, but this will help Brian and your board staff to be able to fix any information that is not there or is not correct. In the future, if you're showing a property and let's say it says it's a 4-bedroom, but you just got there and it's a 2-bedroom, you can hit that corrections. It's anonymous. The listing agent is never going to know that you've said this. What it does is it actually sends it from you to the board staff. So the board staff knows who you are, but the other agent on the other end of the deal, they do not know who you are. It's an anonymous way to report it directly to your board so that that they see, oh, there's a problem, and they can check the information for accuracy. All right, I gave you a whole lot of information here. Brian, did I leave anything out? Do we have any questions that we may need to go over? Is there anything that I missed or maybe need to clarify a little bit? Okay, I'm not even seeing too many questions. If you have any questions, now's the time to put them in the questions box. One last thing, remember in Paragon, under resources, this is where your toolbox is. This is also where you're going to find the Northern Great Lakes information. Now, let me explain. There is a reason that we separated the Northern Great Lakes. Everything else is right in Paragon. The reason we have separated the Northern Great Lakes is they began to data share with us, which is exclusive. Nobody else has that. But what we wanted you to remember is if you are showing something from the Northern Great Lakes Realtors, you have to remember to verify the offers of compensation and cooperation before showing the listing. So it works the same way. You can still set up your searches. You can see it's the exact same program. You can set up your contacts. Works the exact same way, but we did not want you to go in and schedule something and then say, oh, wait, I thought they were going to pay X. Well, they are agreeing to put their listings in. They're kind of baby stepping their data sharing, meaning their listings are in there, but you do want to ask what the compensation and cooperation is going to be ahead of time. Okay. Well, that's all. I don't see any questions. So I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to attend the demonstration today. Remember, you do have tech support that's available. You can find that right on your home page. When you log in, it's 248-247-1040. There is a handout that's available right in your GoToWebinar panel that talks about some of the important information about the conversion. But again, the tech support number, should you have any questions, is 248-247-1040. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a great day. Sell, sell, sell. We need those listings. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.